Alright guys, just want to show you how I'm going to change the front wheel bearing on a 2010 Volvo XC90. I'm also changing the front discs and pads, and I want to be painting the calipers as well. So I'll try and show you in some detail what I'm doing. It's not going to be a full tutorial as such. If you haven't got one of these, highly recommend it. Doesn't have to be from Makita. Right, hopefully it's saying a sign of things to come. All the nuts are out. All nuts are out and the wheel ain't coming off. So it needs a bit of persuasion. So whenever I put this wheel on before, didn't put any copper grease or anything on. Alright, got the wheel off. Okay, I'll give it a quick spray of brake cleaner. As you can see, this caliper is rather large. It's a big old vehicle to stop. So once this comes off, I highly recommend you have some cable ties handy. So once that comes off, you can tie it to the suspension arm back there. Let's get the caliper off. There's two nuts. One right here at the top where I've got my drill onto. They're 18mm. Right. There's one down there at the bottom. Just there. Okay, another 18mm. Alright. The impact wrench ain't touching that, so make sure you've got a decent kit. Here's what I like to use. So basically 18mm, and get one of them, and then you can put a bar in there. And the thing is, you can get that as long as you want with a couple of extension pieces, as long as space allows, and then you can use it like a breaker bar. The longer you can get that, the easier it is to undo the nut. As you can see, that's the bar I used in there. I had to use two hands on that. That was quite tight, and then give it a yank. Right, got the caliper off. I cable tied it. Cable tied it here. One at the bottom there. And one there, mate. There. See that? Because you don't want to be putting too much pressure on the brake line there. Right, and that's quite heavy. That was quite awkward actually, doing that by myself. Another pair of hands would come in handy for that. Next thing, 10mm. Once the nut's out, you want to crack the disc off. Couple of whacks, this is getting changed anyway. There you go. And these discs, 336 they are. Next thing you want to do is crack that off. That there is a 13mm. 13mm. Oh, and also to get this bearing off, the nuts that are behind here, if I can try and show you, it's going to be a bit awkward. Let me turn the light on here. Sorry about the camera angles. Where are we? Right, you can get to that if you had a spanner, one of them probably swan neck type of spanners. You can get to that one, right? But when it comes to this one here, I don't think you're going to get to that without specialist spanners. So that's why you see people taking these off completely, like disconnecting the sway arm and all that. That's the right terminology for it. And then undoing these two bolts. Every bolt you've got to take off, it's worth cleaning down and lubricating. Alright? WD-40, 5 minutes, and then undo them. Right, to undo this nut here, basically it just kept spinning a whole lot, even the shaft. So what I've used, 8mm spanner, fits on the top of there, and I'm able to spin the nut while holding that bit. Alright, so if that happens to you, that's what you have to do. Right, got the track rod arm off. Now onto this part. This side here, 18mm, that side there, 21mm. I took the 2 bolts out here, right, and I've just got that back in there because the suspension wants to naturally push out a little bit. Want to take the ABS sensor out. 8mm nut on the top, pulled that out. I couldn't quite get to it, so the disc guard I took off, which was 3 10mm bolts, 1, 2, and the third one there. Alright, and hopefully I can just get a little screwdriver underneath that now, and that gets that out easy. I'll give that a little clean up before I put that back in. Right, now pull that screwdriver out, pull this forwards to get to the back of the wheel bearing. Right, just got the nuts out for the bearing. That was hard work. Blimey. On these nuts, they must put some sort of Loctite or whatever on there. I noticed on the new ones it's got that pink stuff. So yeah, just trying to undo that was very difficult, to be honest. I literally had to use them. I had to make up like a breaker bar with like 3 of these. Oh, sweating. That took over an hour to get 4 bolts out. There you go. Next stage, hitting this out. Let's hope that comes out a bit easy. I ain't holding my hopes up though. Right guys, this has been an absolute pig. I spent 2.5 hours now trying to get this off, and I'm sure the professionals out there will probably have my guts about this, but listen, I can only use the tools I've got. So basically I've got this broken flathead screwdriver here. I've been trying to force this in between the edges. That didn't work to begin with. Used plenty of WD-40, and then I've been bashing the hell out of it from the back, not budging whatsoever. So I ended up using my angle grinder. I literally scored a line all the way around to sort of break the rust, yeah, and then I went in a little bit deeper on the edges here so I could get my screwdriver down, and it's just starting to go now, starting to separate. So a few more whacks hopefully and that will come apart, but I'll let you know. Success, blimey. Honestly, that was hard work. I mean, this Volvo XC90 has done 123,000 miles. Yeah, I didn't think it'd be that hard to get that out. I've marked a bit of this, but I'll just like grind that back, file it down, and I'll sand all this out, clean it all up, so I can get a new one back in and start rebuilding it. Right, you can see here the bearing. I mean, this, you know, it took a bit of a bashing, that's for sure, but you can see here where I've angle grinds carefully around the edges there. Not, that's the bottom, so I couldn't get to that. Sides and the top, and I just took an angle out either side of this, and I was just able to get a chisel or a flathead screwdriver down there and bash it to try and separate it. But yeah, a couple of handy bits of kit if you've got a drill. It's these rotary wire cleaners. They're really handy when you need to clean out the inside of that. So I'll give that a bash. Make sure you wear a mask, safety first, and goggles. So I'll do that and I'll show you the difference once it's done. Right guys, so let's turn this down. I've got this as clean as I'm going to get by using them tools for the drill. I'll start put a bit of grease in there now, get the bearing back in and start the rebuilding process, basically opposite of what was done. So yeah, let's get cracking. Alright, bearings on. That's that one on, pretty easy. Just make sure you line up all the holes first, you know, put a bolt in and then just wiggle it about before you and then you tighten the bolts up to pull the bearing back into place. Connecting the suspension part back up, I found it easier to push it because this naturally wanted to turn round. I've pulled it back and I used a clamp and it's got the bottom hole lined up, and basically I just used a screwdriver and I wiggled it around till it lined up for the bolt, and then shoved the bolt in, little pointer there. And then once that one's in, I'll just clamp that up to connect the top one. Same again. Right guys, top tip here, because I got to this stage, I've had a bad day at it. Basically fitted the wheel bearing and that doesn't fit into it. So yeah, so basically once you disconnect your suspension arm and you pull this section away, get your new wheel bearing and check it fits first before you go any further, because if it doesn't, you're at the stage where you can start putting things back together, or it'll be quite early in the day rather than late in the day as it is now. Luckily my local parts shop had the right part in stock. Alright, that's the disc and the caliper and everything back on. So yeah, I was hoping to paint this yellow, but it's now 8 o'clock at night. It's been a long day. I would allow a day to do one of these if you're not a mechanic that does this sort of thing every single day with a shop. So yeah, I'll see you on the next one.